My name is Roger Ford. I'm based out of Washington, D.C., and I have the privilege of running our international development practice, which we call Accenture Development Partnerships. And we're a very unique practice within Accenture in that we focus on entirely creating social impact around the world. So our clients are the world's largest NGOs, private foundations, bilateral and multilateral donors, and most importantly, over the last few years, working with many of our multinational commercial clients on development issues. And I think that's what really WEF is all about, creating sustainable development. And today we're here to really talk about what digital disruption means to this sector at a high level, but it presents a great opportunity to multiply impact and create even greater change than we've seen in the past decades that we've been serving the world's poor and vulnerable communities. I do have the privilege and honor this evening to be here with our Chief Technology and Innovation Officer, Paul Daugherty, who will be here in a moment to say a few words, and AB, the CEO of Plan International, one of our long-term Accenture Development Partnerships clients.
We're really at the early stages of transforming from an industrial age economy to a digital economy. So it's not just about digital business, it's not just about digital organizations and digital technologies, it's a fundamental restructuring of the way business, the economy, and society work, and that's why this is a very exciting time. And we have a theme that we're using a lot around technology, and technology is very much in the air at Davos. How many of you have heard about technology? Have you heard the term AI this week? And we're using the phrase technology for people. So we believe we need to flip the axis on this and think about how we use technology to support people, not just in the work you're doing, but in the work that any organization, any company does, and look at how we use technologies that can adapt and make people more effective and take more of a human approach. We're working with a number of organizations, including Akshaya Patra, a mega kitchen in India, to use machine learning and Internet of Things in the operations of their kitchen that's feeding 1.5 million children a day that would otherwise go hungry. 1.5 million children a day. Another organization that I've come across that's doing amazing work is Samasource, which is creating a platform powered by AI and other technologies to microtask work in Africa and other countries to bring some of the digital work that's happening to underprivileged parts of the world and lift them out of poverty. There's a struggle in all organizations, regardless of where you work, around strategy, digital strategy. How does your business model change? What new things do you need to do? How platforms, multi-sided platforms come into play in delivering your services more effectively? There's digital workforce and cultural changes. There's a new workforce and coming into play that expects a new approach to culture, new tools. We call it a liquid workforce approach, and that presents challenges for every organization. There's digital consumer challenges. How do you reach your constituents in a new way? We talked about mobile and mobile access and other ways of reaching consumers in a different way, and that's where there's a lot of promise with new technologies. And then there's transforming your products and services and using technologies, the IoT we talk about, and artificial intelligence and other technologies to transform the core missions.
Plan International neither pretends to be a sector leader in digital or in any way, shape or form sort of the most innovative in this space, which is why this partnership is particularly interesting for us. Plan International is the world's largest girls' rights organization. We deliver programs around the world for $1 billion every year in about 71 countries. Over the next 5 years, we aspire to reach 100 million girls to ensure that they learn, they lead, they decide, and they thrive. Our biggest challenge is that there are hacker attempts on our database by pedophile rings every single week. When you're a girls' rights organization, you have pictures and images of girls in villages around the world. You know where they are, you know they're vulnerable, they're accessible. We are a very, very core both victim and target of cybercrime. We are absolutely committed, obviously, to having the highest standards of child protection and the highest standards of data security. That's one challenge. We have Because of the work that we've done for over 80 years, we have today, as I said, 1.4 million individual sponsors. Because we're an 80-year-old organization and our development model hasn't always been at the forefront of development initiatives, we have an aging population of sponsors. Part of that is because we actually haven't been able to communicate with our sponsors in a smart and modern and digital way. So all these pictures and all this data, etc., is transferred to our sponsors in letters and mails, etc., but not really in a smart and interactive way. If we ask an individual sponsor today, and that's whether, it doesn't matter whether they're a CEO or they're a family in Colombia, because we have sponsors also in developing countries, they say, what do you want? We want an interaction. Now, so how do we create an interaction that is personal and that is meaningful and that is protected from the crime that I have just shared with you? When you, as a child rights organization and a girls' rights organization, are part of the movement to end early and forced marriage, one of the immediate problems that we encounter, of course, is that multiple governments around the world are beginning to see that they need to have legislation that prevents a child from getting forced into marriage below 18. Now, 220 million kids don't have birth certificates. So how are you going to know whether this young person is actually underage? How are you going to create a sense of rule of law that ensures that this particular child actually gets the rights of protection from the state against a forced marriage? They need an identity card. With the help of Accenture, and there are many other examples of our collaboration also in youth and skills development, we are probably today considered the leading go-to organization on digital birth registration. If a government basically says, listen, I've got to have a mobile solution that goes into communities with a partner that can mobilize the communities and make sure that right there you can get an identity card that is not just a piece of paper that with information that gets lost somewhere in a registry in the local committee, but actually goes all the way back to capital and becomes an official identity of that particular person. That particular technology and that innovation has been developed through Plan with the help of Accenture. But the really important thing for us, yes, it's the digital side, but it's really that journey. And it's the journey of trial and error, of failing together, of failing forward and learning all the time. So more recently, and as part of this new global strategy of the next 5 years that we've done, we've engaged in a further development of our partnership that basically is centered around innovation.